This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Friday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. And as always, we appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Got a lot to talk about here heading into the weekend. We've broken down a couple of college football games so far this week on the show. The final game for week 0 we'll look at Conference USA battle between Sam Houston State and Western Kentucky. We'll get to that coming up in just a bit. Also, UFC Fight Night or Fight Morning, depending on how you look at it, in Shanghai, China. We will look at that as well. Also, we have a couple baseball games to look at, Lee. So let's begin with two old friends getting together in the Bronx as the Red Sox and Yankees hook up.
What the fuck?
WTF.
Red Sox and Yankees continuing their series in the Bronx, and these two teams, the Red Sox, they came into New York struggling. They're looking for a playoff spot. We know how well Toronto's played in the American League East, but still very big game coming up on Friday at Yankee Stadium. Lee, who do you like in this matchup?
You know, these are bitter rivals. I mean, there's no two ways about it going back, 100 years. But I think the Red Sox take these games more seriously. I mean, not, this is a rivalry, but I think they get sky high for these games. And I was watching the pitcher who's going to be pitching in this game in his last game that he pitched against Miami. And Brian Ballo, I thought he had really good command of the zone and he looked comfortable in there. And sometimes I take notes and I'm like, you know what? This is a guy that I might want to back for the next couple times he takes the hill. So in that game against Miami, pitched 6 1/3 innings. It's a fourth-year pro, gave up 2 runs on 4 hits. And like I said, I thought he had really good command of the zone. And the hits that he gave up, were a couple of them were pitches that I thought were pretty good pitches. Just give the hitter credit. On the other hand, Max Fried just got absolutely beat up. Maybe one of his worst outings that he's had all year. He's a 31-year-old, gave up 7 runs on 8 hits in a 5-inning win, believe it or not, against St. Louis. A little bit better numbers over the year, 13-5, just a 3.26 ERA. Problem here is you really want to lay 170 with the Yankees unless they're playing a nobody. I just think that the line should be like 140, 145, 150 tops here. You're going to get back plus 145. And even though they've cooled off, have this Boston Red Sox team in their lineup, I think they're going to be sky high for the game. And if they can get 4 or 5 runs, I think that might be enough here. So this Yankees lineup just strikes out way too much. They make errors in the field, bonehead plays, just don't have a lot of smart players. Also, a lot of guys who I think are over the hill. So, what we see is what we get with the Yankees here. I'm going to take the plus 145, and I feel good about it here. My wrong team favored to start off for Friday, Boston Red Sox.
And the last time these teams, or when these pitchers faced off with each other at Fenway Park, Lee, back in June, Bayo outdueled Fried in a 2-0 win. So Bayo definitely has success against this Yankees team, and we'll see if he can replicate that coming up tonight. Taking a look back at what unfolded on Thursday on the show, we split our 2 picks. Hunter Goodman of the Colorado Rockies, he got a hit and he scored 2 runs, but yet he didn't get 2 bases, which that seems kind of odd. Obviously, walks don't count towards total bases. He had a walk as well. Only had 2 official at-bats and fell just short.
And then got pitch hit for. So usually your third hitter is not going to get pitch hit for. So that I thought was odd. But, it happens. Even when we're losing, we're right there. We're battling. So felt good about it. Just came up a little short.
Now, as far as the winner WNBA, Never in doubt, Lee. The Washington Mystics, road favorite, first quarter, they can't score. And a low-scoring game with Connecticut. Sun ended up winning the game, but still, we cashed our first quarter under, and the teams just couldn't score at all. So felt good to hit that one.
Love it. Love it. When you have an under and there's no doubt, that's the way to go. So you're getting hot again. You started hot, had a little period for 1 week, but it was rough, but you stepped away from it, collected yourself, and now you're seeing things really strongly again. And proud of you, and let's keep it going.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to pass on WNBA tonight. A couple teams on back-to-back, so we have a baseball play coming up in just a little bit. Week 3, Lee, of the NFL preseason underway. A couple games on Thursday, and I just want your thoughts on this. Number one, the Steelers played the Panthers, and what still amazes me is that Aaron Rodgers thinks that he can just step in and play game 1 of the regular season, not one snap in the preseason. And again, he's always going to be a talking point. And not is he the missing piece of the Steelers, but you look at the Steelers have had problems at quarterback. Aaron Rodgers never lived up to the hype in New York. But how do you think he's going to fare considering, he'll get in the groove eventually, but how are you going to get into game 1 without taking a snap in the preseason?
I mean, it's crazy. They used to play 6 preseason games, and guys used to play the starters, sometimes 3 quarters in 3 of the games. But, they most of these athletes stay in tip-top shape year round. They're not working other jobs like when we used to watch football when it started. So that's part of it. But I still think you got to play a guy at least a quarter or 2 in the preseason, especially with a new team. So I can tell you this much. I'm not going to be backing the Pittsburgh Steelers the first week. It'll be either take the other side or lay off the game. I got to see how he performs for at least a game.
Yeah, we don't really know what he has and had his struggles last year. Got hurt 2 years ago in the 4 plays in against the Bills. So we'll see what he's got. Meanwhile, the Giants, they've been pretty good this preseason. Now, I don't really know how that's going to translate to the regular season, but it looks like Russell Wilson will start the season, but Jackson Dart threw a touchdown pass against the Patriots, and he's played well in his time out there. Obviously, the Patriots aren't throwing out a lot of great talent in the 3rd game of the preseason. But, we had talked about this a while ago, Lee, but just to revisit it, that Jackson Dart, I guess we'll just see what Russell Wilson has left in the tank. I got to believe Dart will be ahead of Jameis Winston on the depth chart. And then if Wilson doesn't perform, then maybe we see Dart October-ish. I guess we'll just see how it unfolds with Russell Wilson.
You don't like Mr. Unlimited. Russell Wilson is fine. I mean, if they get off to, like I said, a start, they're 3-4, 4-3. I think they'll keep him in there. They go 2-5 or 1-6 to start. I think you'll see Jackson Dart. The kid's definitely talented. You can see it throwing the football, pretty darn good timing, strong arm, and when he has to, he can run. If I'm the Giants, I trade Jameis Winston. I mean, how perfect would it be for him to go back to the New Orleans Saints? At least they'd be fun and they'd be competitive. They're not going to win more than 3 or 4 games, whoever the quarterback is. But instead of winning 2 games, they might win 4 games, and we'll see a lot of 40, 35 games.
I'm going to throw this one out to you before we hit the break. And I know we don't do a lot of survivor talk on here, but the Giants play Washington in week 1 in D.C. And I feel like the Commanders will be a very popular pick in these survivor pools in week 1 because of how far Washington went to the NFC Championship last year with what Jaden Daniels did. But do you think that's maybe a game where, we've seen, we saw the Bengals last year lose to the Patriots. We've seen a lot of upsets early. Do you think this could be one where maybe the Giants trip up the Commanders in week 1?
Oh, absolutely. They played Cam Scatterboo last night, and he looked pretty good. I don't know if he's a starter, but he's certainly going to be a nice situational player, a nice backup or change of pace guy. Russell Wilson can get hot. They've got one of the best receivers, solid special teams. There's not that much of a difference between most of these teams. I mean, Jim Daniels is incredible, quarterback for Washington, but their defense can be had. They could lose a shootout. So I don't play survivor. I stick to what I do best. A lot of people, I'm decent at in-game betting, but I'll play probably 2 in-game wagers a week. There's people out there playing 20, 30 games. You got to stick with what you do best. It's side and totals. And then, I know quarterbacks well, and I know head coaches and, certain situations. Also, one of the things I love to do, if you get a total, let's say of like anywhere in the NFL from 35 to 39, and you end up seeing more than 24 more points scored in the first half, usually you will see the game slow down, especially if one team is winning, let's say 20-3 or 21-7. They'll try to run the ball more, and I'll play some unders in the second half. So that's something I look at usually when two teams aren't big scorers and they score big in the first half in the NFL and one team's up on the other. You can be sure if they've got a running game, they're going to try to shorten the game. They don't want to take a chance of allowing the other team to have 5 or 6 possessions.
So we'll keep our eye coming up. NFL preseason winding down, a week off, and then we'll get to week 1 of the NFL. Should be very exciting. Coming up, we do have another baseball play. Also, we'll look at UFC Fight Night and college football. Conference USA showdown between Western Kentucky and Sam Houston State. We'll get to that coming up. You're listening to Locked On Bets. I want to tell you now about FanDuel, and guess what's coming up on Tuesday? That's right, Tuesday, August 26th, officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions, so whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. And look, the MVP, it could be a lot of different guys at quarterback, but right now, Lamar Jackson of the Ravens, he's the favorite at plus 430. Joe Burrow and Josh Allen each at 6-1. Patrick Mahomes at plus 650. Jaden Daniels at 10-1 from the Commanders. Also, even Justin Herbert, you want to throw him in from the Chargers. We'll see what they do this year. He's at 20-1. And then if you look at, I don't know, you want to go to maybe a Super Bowl winner, you want to do that. Hey, the odds are up there too, and the favorites, the Baltimore Ravens at plus 650, Buffalo and Philadelphia right behind at plus 750, and then the Kansas City Chiefs, who were blown out of the Super Bowl, they're at 8-1. So you have plenty of choices there for a Super Bowl winner, or maybe go with an upset. Who knows? That's up to you. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. We continue here, Locked On Bets, Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And now it is time to shift to the diamond once again for a late night affair out in the desert.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
A couple blowouts here. We'll get to the UFC blowout in just a few moments. But first, this game, the Reds and the Diamondbacks out in Arizona. And I'm going to take the Arizona Diamondbacks, first 5 innings, -0.5 run. First of all, Cincinnati swept Arizona earlier this season. So even though the Diamondbacks have gotten rid of a lot of their big boppers, still playing with revenge, they're still, you don't forget that. I believe in psychology. I believe that, it's not just another game on the schedule, that, you got embarrassed by them earlier in the season. You want to beat them this time around. Now, first off, with the Diamondbacks, Ryan Nelson, he faced Cincinnati back on June 7th. They lost 13-1. He allowed 5 runs in the first inning, so he's going to pitch better. And also, since the All-Star break, Nelson 4-1-1 in the first 5 innings. On the Red side, Zach Littell, who was with Tampa Bay, and they got traded to Cincinnati at the deadline. So far this season, in the first 5 innings, he's 6-14-5. So 25 starts, he's led 6 times. And the last time he led through 5 innings was July 30th against the Yankees, and he played with Tampa Bay at the time. So with Cincinnati, he has not led yet through 5 innings. The Reds still in the playoff race, so you cannot deny that. But Arizona favorite at home. We're going to back the Diamondbacks first 5 innings, -0.5 run against the Reds tonight, Lee.
Love it. So I think the Reds are pretenders, not contenders, and this might be the series. They lose 2 out of 3, all 3. So let's see if that happens. And I like Arizona in the first 5 there. So I think, like I said, you got a pitcher that's absolutely been red. He's just been cold and not very good on the road. So let's back Arizona in the first 5.
And also, Littell lost to Arizona earlier this year as a member of the Rays, so we'll see what happens here in a second matchup against Arizona. So now we shift from baseball to UFC and fight night technically, but morning here. But it's going to be a very early start, so set your alarm to watch some UFC. And the time now for the blowout.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
UFC Fight Night, Shanghai, China, coming up on Saturday morning. Get yourself ready, Lee. Go to sleep now so you can get set for this UFC match. You know what? You have UFC, you have K-State, Iowa State. You got a big day ahead of you on Saturday, so you better get your nap in now. Lee, what do you like in UFC Fight Night?
And then I can take a nap, about 3:30 after the Iowa State, Kansas State get ready for the night games. Here's what's interesting. Number one, this card starts at 3 a.m, Saturday morning. So I always get someone that buys my fights and they're like, what's going on? What channels? And I'm like, well, you missed it. So you got to know with everything, when's the start time? 3 a.m. This fight is on the undercard. You have to know the fact that, they're really pushing these fighters here from China. They set up a performance camp there. They want to get everyone. I think it's the first time in the men's division, there are no champions from the United States. So the fighters are getting better. Fighter Rong Zhu, who's 25 years old, 26-6 record, a lightweight fighter. He's one of these guys I think that can fight to a certain level. And the problem here that his opponent's going to have, Austin Hubbard, 33, who is 17-9. He's already been knocked out. They already let go of him in the UFC. Then he won at a competition, one of these Survivor things. They brought in 8 fighters, and they have like a second chance, and he ends up winning between the 8 fighters. So he's back in the UFC, but I don't think it's for long. So the fact that you got a fighter who's from China fighting here, he does train in Auckland, Australia, but the flight over isn't going to be as much for him. It's not going to be tough at all. Austin Hubbard's got to fly halfway around the world. And, I think he's one of these guys that's kind of like going to be just going to be served up here and fighting a guy that's faster, hits harder, more athletic. I think the only way Austin Hubbard here is going to win, he's not going to win by decision. He's going to have to win by a TKO or submission. And I think it's going to be tough here. So I just don't think he has the skill set. We're going to go with Rong Zhu, the young fighter from China here, minus 250. It's going to be my blowout special for UFC Shanghai.
You going to get any calls coming up on Saturday for your service? You're going to get a call at like 2:30, 3 o'clock saying, no. Who do you like?
No, I'm going to miss. I don't think I'm going to have the first couple of fights. So might get up at about 4:30 in the morning.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Sleep in for UFC Fight Night. Coming up, we do have week 0 of college football already. A couple picks in so far this week. You can check out our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets, for those selections, including K-State, Iowa State, Kansas, Fresno State, Stanford, Hawaii. And coming up, we will talk about Conference USA, Sam Houston State, and Western Kentucky to see the Hilltoppers, a heavy home favorite, if they will cover against the Bearcats with a K. So that is coming up. You are listening to Locked On Bets. Locked On Bets continues here on a Friday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And week 0, we've had plenty of breakdowns so far this week on several games. You can check them all out on our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets, or on the podcast as well, if you want to just listen to them. And Lee has the selections there for this week. And the final selection for week 0, Sam Houston State and Western Kentucky.
Open it, open it, open it. Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
Saturday, Conference USA. Can't have it any other way than that, Lee. This is what this is what dreams are made of. Sam Houston State and Western Kentucky. The Hilltoppers, they beat up Sam Houston State last year. Heavy favorite here. What do you like in this matchup?
So Western Kentucky actually has been pretty strong over the last decade. If you look them up, Their seventh-year head coach, Tyson Helton, only had one losing season, one of those transition years, and he's done it with good quarterback play. Bunch of quarterbacks. He has a couple of them in the league right now that are third stringers in the NFL. So says something about their system and also the talent level they're bringing in. So they're going to bring in a transfer here. Kid's name is Maverick McIver. And you're saying, how do I know that last name, McIver? Well, I knew his father. Back when I was at the University of Texas, he was a quarterback, number 15, Rick McIver, maybe one of the strongest arms I've ever seen. Now, Maverick, I think Rick could probably throw the ball 80, 85 yards. Never seen anything like it. He stood like 6'5". I hate to say it, but not the brightest tool in the shed, but that's probably why he didn't make the NFL. But Maverick played for Abilene Christian last year. Good friend of mine's son was the backup. So watched a couple games. So I think I know a lot about him. He threw for almost 3,900 yards last year, got him to the second round of the Division I AA. It used to be 1AA. Now it's the FCS playoffs where I think they went up against, it might have been North Dakota State, and they got blitzed, but he was hurt and actually missed the first playoff game. I mean, he was their team. He almost led them to a win at Texas Tech. Very talented, can move enough, and I think he's perfect for this system. They also brought in a transfer, a kid named Laval Wright from Austin P, under the radar here. So they're going to face a Sam Houston State team. New head coach, Phil Longo. He actually coached there about a decade ago. He was there. They were 10-3 last year. So you're probably looking at records, seeing both teams kind of similar amount of returning starters, but everything went right for them last year. They were plus 12 in turnover ratio. And what makes it a strong play for me from just a lean, they're switching systems. They're going from a run-based triple option offense to a spread option offense. So they're going to be throwing the ball. When you usually go from running to throwing, usually there's at least a 2-year turnover. And I think they're going to go through some really tough times here. And on defense, they played good, sound defense. And, you know, they did a lot of bend but not break. But I think they're going to be on the field, the defense, a lot more with an offense. It's going to be a lot of 3-and-outs here. So I think Western Kentucky at home, they get really good home crowds. They support their team as the play here. Let's lay the 10 here with Western Kentucky over a depleted Sam Houston State team that is in a full rebuild here. It's going to be my level 3 lock to end the week on Locked On Bets.
So interesting, that whole, when you look back at turnovers, and I understand you'd have to like look at every single turnover, see how it worked out, but still, when you have all of that good fortune, I guess you want to say, you still earn them, but at the same time, right, things break your way, but you're not Alabama, you're not Texas, you're not someone like that. Like, you're a team at Sam Houston State. They're not thought of as a national power, but they're getting all these turnovers and winning 10 games. You think, okay, this is definitely going to regress the next year. And also it also doesn't help that you lost a lot of your players. Yeah.
And what they had was, you know, they had, like I said, a system. They slowed down the game. They didn't get up and on offense, try to run any hurry up at all. Now they're going to be in full hurry up mode. You know, it's a whole different sophistication. You had like 3 tight ends, you know, you had blocking tight ends, you had fullbacks, you know, you had traps, you had all these plays that, you know, where you're trying to out physical your opponent. Now you're going to try to out finesse them. Just usually doesn't work. First 2 years, a real tough transition. So let's take advantage of it. I can see Western Kentucky winning this game by 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, Western Kentucky dominated them last year. We'll see if that happens again coming up on Saturday. So, Lee, again, college football, it's not around the corner anymore. It's here, coming up tomorrow with week 0, and then week 1 begins next Thursday, and we go all through the weekend. It should be a lot of great action. So what's going on with Paramount Sports?
What, you want to get involved? You want to come with us for the season from today all the way through the Super Bowl, 1997. You want to try us for 6 weeks. Call it our September to Remember special. Normally $597. If you use coupon code SAVE100, just $497 for 6 weeks of action. You're going to get generally on a full card starting next week, 9 to 12, 9 to 13 games a week, and works out to $80 a weekend. Use that coupon code SAVE100, just $497. And the UFC card, normally $33 for 3 selections. Use coupon code SAVE30, $3 to try out our UFC selections. And we've won 10 of the last 13 cards. So everything's up and available. Remember that UFC card starts at 3 a.m, Saturday morning. So, don't buy it on Saturday morning when you wake up at 9 or 10 in the morning. It's going to be too late. So go to ParamountSports.com or give us a call. We can take your order over the phone, 800-400-9741.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets, and also the podcast you could find on your favorite audio platform. And again, we appreciate your support as we made it to football season. So college football this weekend, and then after the NFL preseason wraps up, we'll have NFL Week 1 coming up in just a little bit. And also you have 2 weeks of college in the books by the time the NFL season starts up. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again on Monday for Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.